everybody, this is Keith Gleason from Indie Comics Relay, creator of the Mighty Mascots, and I'm here today with two guests. My lovely wife, Amy Gleason,
Hello.
who is like the unsung hero behind Mighty Mascots and is, does fantastic artwork at our shows if you ever seen us at a convention, and makes unbelievable ponies. And then, of course, my great co-host, Johnny C., creator of Sartana and Surrounded by Death. What's up, guys?
I'm the defense attorney for Saratoga Comic Con. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so we're doing another con report video. Before we do that, though, I just want to share this real quick. Plastic City Comic Con is happening July 16th.
Woo!
It's right around the corner. $10 admission. Parking free, kids 12 and under for free, and over 150 vendors. You can't find a better Comic-Con in the New England area.
I see free parking as one of the perks for a lot of New England Comic-Cons, but it works best at your show.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the guest list is like a mile long. Just take a look here, it's crazy. So, yeah, so check us out. July 16th, this show will be happening, and you should make the trip down. It's going to be worth it. All right. So so I did a con report video recently just on Kids Comic Con. And I know you guys, Amy was with me at Saratoga, and Johnny, you were often at Saratoga all the time. How long has Saratoga Comic Con been going? What's your guess?
It's been a while, but at least since like 2014, 2015, 2016, that kind of era right there.
Gotcha. And he does the show is run twice a year, usually in November and April, correct?
Yep. Or May. It's a spring and a fall show.
Spring and a fall show.
Yeah,
and it's,
exactly.
Saratoga, New York, which is Upper New York, I believe.
Upstate New York on the east side. If you were to look at the west side, you'd be across from Buffalo.
Gotcha. And it's a 2-day
and it's like 45 minutes from Albany, just to kind of give you a perspective.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I've done the show a couple times. Like, I'd say maybe, Amy, what do you think? Maybe 3-4 times we've done the show at this point?
I think this one was our fourth.
Okay.
Our fourth time there.
So what I did on the last video, which I think we should do on this one, is first talk about the show. If you were an attendee, like, what is your thoughts on it? My thought, basically, right out of the gate for Saratoga, if I was an attendee, I'm more of a comic person, so I don't think I would get much from this show because there's not a ton of comics there. There is spattering of it. But I would say this is mostly, if you're into anything else, pop culture, this would be a good show for you. There's tons to do. There's programming all day, all weekend. You got this great VJ hosting the show.
That guy?
Yeah.
That guy. You know, he's the shit out of everybody.
Right. For you guys that don't know, Johnny does the emceeing for Saratoga Comic Con. But yeah, and it's grown to a massive scale. I think he's actually at the point where he's outgrown that space. I think,
I think it's maybe on the edge. So
it is on the edge, yeah.
Before and one there. So if we're looking at it from an attendee's perspective, one thing you have to look at is the area, which is Saratoga Springs, New York. Okay. It's very close to Skidmore, so there's our college crowd there. The community has very few comic stores, actual comic shops. So to have this thing that people can go to twice a year that kind of allows you to imbibe in the pulp culture and the things you would, find in a comic shop, but not limited to, that's kind of what brings people out to the show, I think. And then the other thing that's kind of been a game changer is that the city center in Saratoga Springs now has a multi-level parking garage.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
Right, which is which is connected to the venue. There's a sky bridge that walks you right over into the show, and I think that's a little bit of a game changer. Whereas before, the show would kind of top out at around $5K, since putting in the parking garage, people can stay longer. They can find a place to park. It's not right. Yeah, there's fewer restrictions for parking and for being able to, attend the show. It's much easier. So that's, the last few numbers. As a matter of fact, this last show, the numbers I got from the team was 7,300 for the weekend.
Oh, wow. That's
right,
impressive.
That's more than the
that
fall
was from
show.
This past show.
This past show, yep.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely made a difference because before this past weekend, I think we were there like 3 years ago, and they didn't have the garage yet, and it was easily half the crowd we saw this past weekend.
Yeah, it's a very busy show. Like there were people watching.
Yeah. What were your thoughts, Amy? Go ahead.
I think for an attendee, like I would agree with you, Keith, there weren't a lot of comics. There were lots of like costuming things. There were lots of cosplay. I saw like a leather crafter. I saw a prop guy. Our friend who sells the swords and axes and whatnot was there. There were like furry paraphernalia, tails and ears, and a lot of wigs. So there was lots of like cosplaying stuff. There's a lot of like nerdy jewelry, those types of things, like nerdy home goods. Like it was sort of a big geek like expo, more than like a comic convention.
More like I'd say it's more like a pop culture show, wouldn't you say?
But I say the other thing that was really cool, I think, for attendees is like they had some fun giveaways and stuff. I think like you raffled off like a Nintendo Switch, like that's really cool. Like that was really neat. Yeah. I saw that it was pretty consistently programmed, so there's always something for people to do. So even if an attendee came in with very little money to spend, as long as they could get in the door, there's stuff in there for them to enjoy and to do.
Definitely. And Johnny, do you know what the the admission is at that show? The admission price?
Not offhand, unfortunately, but I think it's like 25 or 30 bucks
25
for the weekend.
I was going to say bad. 25 seems to be fair for that show. And for what you get, I think there's a lot of programming. There's a lot of, lots to do. You can definitely stay all day and, definitely have a good time there.
I mean, you could even stay into the evening because there's the after party on.
Yeah, that's right. And that's all included with the admission, right?
Right. So when you go to the after party, the party's included with the admission. But if you wanted to imbibe in the, the catering and the food and all that stuff, that's a little bit extra. You have to buy a ticket or whatever. But
yeah, definitely.
You could literally be there all day, all weekend, just short of having to go back to a hotel or go home to freshen up and come back again,
Yeah, definitely. And I just wanted to show this website real quick, the Saratoga website. This is a shot of the city center where they held it. It's, awesome. They already have the dates up for November. Yep. There's like a shot of the crowd. So yeah, very cool. Now
for you,
go ahead.
A weekend 2-day pass was $40. Saturday.
Oh.
Yep. Saturday one day was $25. Sunday one day was $20. So
that's what I was thinking. The single
that's
day.
Not bad.
So, yeah.
That's not bad. Yeah, that's actually very reasonable, and that's like probably like the what you expect from shows nowadays is the $25 and $20 fees, and plus if you buy it early, I think you get little breaks on it and things like that.
And like kids are less. And
of course. Yeah.
For veterans, discounts for seniors. All that stuff. So they do.
Definitely
making what they have to offer affordable for people. They're not price gouging.
And now, so we looked at it from the attendee side. So let's look at it from the vendor side. So me and Amy have been there 4 times. We were saying mixed results. I would say every time. I will say that I think our sales this past weekend was the best I've seen at that show. And I've actually sold comics there, which is different because normally I don't really sell many comics at that show. It's mostly print. It's mostly pins. It's all the tchotchke stuff.
Tchotchkes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, from a vendor point of view, I think if you live close to Saratoga, I think it's worthwhile. Adding the hotel and the food and everything that might not make it profitable for you, but there is good networking there too. I think What about you guys? What do you think about that, like from a vendor point of view?
I think that one of my biggest complaints is that loading dock for like a big city center, a big venue. That loading dock is terrible. It's
The one in the back. You're talking
yeah, the
about
one in the back.
the one that's like a 90 degree. It's like 90 degrees with like dips and everything.
So-
Although I guess if we got there earlier, you could load in the front, which is
Okay, so
different.
I was gonna say,
So-
yeah, well, yeah. So there's the loading dock through the back door
Yeah.
where you go through the kitchen, and then there's the loading dock in the front, or the the garage entrance in the front, where it's just a long ramp. So
yeah, that
it's
one's
kinda like,
much
if you
better,
know,
but it's
you know,
tougher
yeah.
to get to that, you know.
And then, and if you have a bigger display or a bigger thing, it's almost like that's one of the detractors of the show, is that you have to really, inquire and pre-plan your loading. But in Sam's defense, Sam, who runs the show, a good friend of mine, he does send out pretty detailed loading instructions in an email to exhibitors in advance. So
well,
Yeah,
somebody on our
definitely.
team dropped the ball and didn't read everything they should have been reading. Then it's
right.
probably me, but
No,
Right.
we got
It's
the
okay.
email.
I
I looked
wasn't
at it.
trying to call you out like that, Amy.
Well, that's why I mentioned the front. But like I that area is tough to get in anywhere. I mean, it's hard to park to do the front one too.
Yeah.
You have
That's
to
the
do
other
like
dilemma there.
the quick drop off everything and then pull out right out of there. But if those street has parking there, it's hard to do. What about other things about the show? Because I know we're running out of time here. Go ahead.
I mean, I
Amy,
can voice my complaints.
Yeah.
I'm the MC of the show, and I have grievances. You know what I mean?
Well, the one thing I would, and I don't know if this will fall on deaf ears, but I think like the one thing the show could use is a little more organization on the floor. Like, and I don't know if Sam does that for a reason or not, but like I know when I plan my show with the floor plan, I put things together that make sense. Like, so I have all the comic dealers together. I have all the authors in one section. I have all the artists and indie creators in one section. And then I have like the more, I guess, the talent in one section. So I try to put it all things together that make sense.
Right.
Whereas you when you go to Saratoga, there's like, you'll have, the hot sauce guy. And then right next to him is the guy selling tails. Then it'll be like me, and then the next one is like a Funko Pop guy, So it's like there's no like rhyme or reason to it, and I think sometimes, like someone like me, will get lost in there because someone's looking around at everything else, and like the Funko Pop guy, for example, has pops everywhere. So if you're looking at those, you're probably gonna miss me, which is right next to him. You know what I mean?
So the way I see it is that you're kind of walking a fine line. So on one hand, and I've heard him say it before, is that he wants variety.
Yeah.
So for all the artists to be lumped together, there's the pros and cons there, right? And a little bit of that was on display at Wicked. Whereas like when you have all the indie creators in one room, that's awesome. It's an artist alley. But on the flip side, you're now like super in competition with each other, right? Whereas if you're walking through and you overlook one person, there's another indie artist further down the line. They might actually grab and so it's kind of like a double-edged sword in that regard. So I've heard it defended that way. But then when you look and you step back and you look at the show in its entirety as a Comic-Con, then you have like, when you have, like you said, the hot sauce guy, the jerky guy, the somebody selling coffee, somebody doing this, and then you add a bouncy house on top of that, it becomes, part, not all the way a Comic-Con and a little bit of a towny,
or like a circus and like a little bit like a circus kind of festival. Kind of
right, like just a carnival, like an indoor comic carnival, for the lack of a better description, than like a Comic-Con, when you can go and get like freeze-dried candies and cotton candy and, all the stuff that you would get at a fairground, but indoors. It's not really a Comic-Con in that way. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But it is in a way too. So that's like a double-edged sword. You're getting some Comic-Con stuff. You're getting some carny-toony shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What about you, Amy? And then we'll wrap it up here because we're almost out of time here.
And I think I had said this to you, Keith. They did so. It's not just Saratoga that does this. It's when they have the cosplay contest at like 3 p.m, which kills like your sales.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the solution is, because I know that people want to do cosplay contests. Maybe if the show goes until 5, maybe do it at 5, like if after like the show floor closes or something. I don't know, but other shows have done it, and Saratoga did it on Saturday and on Sunday, 2 days in a row. And they also did those things where, hey, calling all, anthros and furries for a photo op out front. There goes everybody, and they kind of don't come back, because then they end up hanging out somewhere else. So it's like they have these things that are fun for everybody, but they do it in a way that it pulls sales away, or
it hobbles the show a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know what the solution to that is either, because you can't get rid of it, but maybe a better time to do it would either be, I don't know.
Especially party anyway. If there's going to be an after party, do it right before the after party.
So I have 2 critiques and a kind of like an added bonus kind of thing here.
Okay.
I don't know if that
is just we'll end it with
way
this.
To wrap it up.
Yeah, but, we'll end it up with after what you say.
So with the so one of my critiques is that I do enjoy an artist alley. I think to New York Comic Con and how it's artist alley is open an hour after the show floor, and it's like a Comic Con unto itself, and it's just so rich with indie creators. It's like that's one of my favorite parts of a convention. So I really wish Sam having the city center with the 2 rooms, there's a smaller room and a larger room. I really wish he would configure the smaller room into somewhat of a table maze and make it so that you have to weave through Artist Alley in the smaller room in like a snake format to get to the bigger room, which would have your other stuff, your bouncy houses, your celebrities,
that's not a bad idea.
Wild Bills, all that stuff. So that's one of my critiques in that regard. The other I would say is that you want to keep it fresh, right? So you don't want to fall into a gap where you're bringing back the same things time and time again. So you want a little bit of a variance. You want a little bit of a change up. So sometimes I feel like the show could probably benefit from doing that. And, maybe having that gap, like you said, Amy, where, show closes at 5 or closes at 6, or let's say it closes at 5. So then from 5 to 6 cosplay, from 6 to 7 or 6 on, after party, and that way you can really make a full day of it and not hobble the sales floor. Now, the positive side, the flip side is that, like you said, you've been a few times and this time has been your best, right? Yeah. So one thing I like to point out to independent creators is I always like to point to our good friend, Jay Morse, who's been going to that show since the very beginning. And in doing so, and keep going back, whether it's a good show or a bad show, he's always there. And as a result, he's now built a following in the area. So when he goes, he does really well time after time, and it gets better with each time because he has legacy there. And he's got, you know what I mean? So like for this past show, he was rolling out his board game, which is live on Kickstarter right now, by the way. Check it out. But he had his board game and everybody knew about it, and he had people that came specifically to check that out because he had this following that was following him after having met him and knowing him through Saratoga Comic Con. I don't exhibit there, but I get a little bit of that by being the host. So there's the people that go there that know me, that have known me for a while.
Gotcha. But all right, so I think that's that pretty much wraps up our visit. We'll come back when the November show and have a report from you, Johnny, at that point to see if things have gotten better, different,
Sure.
But thank you guys for joining us. And we're heading over to do our live stream right now. So we'll talk to you soon. All right. Bye, guys.